Hello everyone, welcome to Homeschool Autism Life. My name is Jamie. Today's video, I first wanted to say thank you for your patience if you've been watching my videos for a regular amount of time. The last couple of videos that I made, I decided I was going to enjoy the outdoors and didn't realize just how distracted I was by all of the goings on and my neighbors, and so I was like a drinking game of ums. It was so bad. And ordinarily I would like refilm them and restart, like do it all over again, except that our family got sick with a cold and we were down and out for the count for like 2 weeks, and so I was forced to either give those videos or nothing, and I wasn't going to give you nothing because I have committed to doing this once a week. And so yes, I wanted to first make that apology. You may see at some point me throwing out 2 videos in the coming weeks because I do want to refilm the hymn study just as I am without one plea, because I think that the amount of ums was definitely overtaking the message, and that hymn is so important to me that I definitely want it to be one that is good, and so it will probably end up being taken out, the bad one, for a good one or a better one anyway. So today's video is a plan with me for the Gather Around Homeschool unit of farming and food. We are doing that one right now, and it's lovely and I'm so enjoying it. When I committed to doing Gather Around Homeschool units, it was really easy for me to do one social studies unit, history or geography, and then intermix it with a science unit. As I've used up a lot of the units over the years, I found that this is a little bit more difficult to be like so categorical. Is that a word? I don't know if that's a word, but it's the one I'm going to use. So with this one, it is farming and food. And so every time I do a unit, I make a banner to announce to my girls. And these photos I just find on Google, and sometimes I use the actual Gather Around Homeschool to make my banner. It just announces to my girls, this is what we're doing next. It's epic and awesome, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. This one is partially a science unit, but partly history. There's a lot that goes into it, but I really wanted to make sure in this season when we're planting gardens and trying to like get food from the land, we don't live in a place currently where we would end up having animals or anything other than our dog. So we don't have that ability, but thankfully both my husband and I grew up surrounded by dairy farms out in the country. The only store where I grew up was a feedlot. So it was something that was a part of our psyche for a while. And then my husband actually grew up on a cattle farm. So we definitely have all of those, the understanding of where our food comes from, and wanting to make sure that our girls know it for sure as well. So the first thing that I usually do is I want to know what I'm going to give my girls for assigned readers. So my daughter Anar, who is a ferocious reader, she reads all the time, and she's very good at it. She wanted to read this one, which was food related stories, and it's just a collection of little stories. And so she did that one. And then I gave her this one, Pixie Pushes On. The books that I picked for this unit had a lot more to do with history, like the Dust Bowl. My brain is going to say this wrong. The Depression era. That's the one. So you will find, yeah, see, Dust Bowl. In the 1930s, when farming was difficult and they had trouble, and so they have a lot of books on that kind of thing, the struggles of farming and during that specific time. The Farming and Food from Gather Round doesn't really, like, I think they mention it, but they don't really dive deep into the struggles of farming in that way, more in the day-to-day running of a farm. So just to keep that in mind, the books versus what Gather Round teaches, it's just teaching you where the food comes from. The books, I needed to pick something that was a little less rigid, if that makes sense. So my youngest daughter, who's still a developing reader, she is reading this Stepping Stones, about a couple of kids at a farmer's market. There we go, my brain. And it is a graphic novel. She still prefers those over other books, and so that's been really lovely. I have this Dust Bowl book is our read aloud. So we do several different books during read aloud, including our hymn sing and brain. The book called Answers. Can't remember what it's called now. Anyway, it's an apologetics book that we do, but this is the one that I read during read aloud. It's about a girl and her horse, so that was a good thing. And then I have a magazine rack to the left of me where I have a whole bunch of books that are available. And with these ones, I did definitely pick ones that were more gardening and food related, because that's what we are capable of doing, and I've been having them weed the garden so that we can plant the garden, and what kind of things do they want to plant, that sort of thing. So I have this, The Revolutionary Genius of Plants, New Understanding of Plant Intelligence and Behavior. And then I have Homegrown, Illustrated Bites from Your Garden to Your Table. So just different gardening books. I did do a survival hacks one, because I figure in farming there's a lot of duct tape and there's a lot of, I have this piece of wood, we're going to use it to fix the fence, sort of thing. So I did pull that one out. And then this one, How to Garden. Again, we're getting to the end of the school year, and so there's been a lot of just kind of relaxing a little bit. Usually I have this like stuffed full, and I just have been relaxing a little bit, especially because there was sickness in our family. So because we started this unit when everyone was ill, at least one of the days we spent watching Little House on the Prairie, which was quite funny because I was like, I hadn't ever watched it, and we only could find the one first episode on YouTube, and then the videos that I have are like, this one's a Christmas one, but it fit. It fit where we were and how it was going. So that's literally been the only movie. I think we have watched Babe before, and I think that one will be a movie that we add in as well. But otherwise, we're just like going through it lesson by lesson, knocking it out of the park so that we can move into our next unit, which will be Gather Round Homeschool's Artist unit for our wrapping up of our school year. So I'm really happy with how it's going. We're about lesson 12. And so I've really enjoyed it. I think that it's been really good to read about and see. I do on occasion add like videos from YouTube from farmers who do that particular farming. So when we are talking about chicken farms, and my daughters have friends who they go to an auntie and uncle's house who like they help do the butchering on that farm, and so I was showing them the difference between, and the videos are usually, the ones that I pick are usually really good about not showing the end. They don't show the end very like on camera, but they talk about how they accomplished that and stuff. And so Sienna in particular has a soft heart, and so she was like, oh my goodness, but it wasn't, you know, like they eat chicken all the time. And so that was one of those things that I wanted them to understand the process. But they also talked about the industrialization of that, like taking these chickens in baskets and putting them through the machines and stuff like that. So yeah, you can do that as well. I've avoided doing it for the pigs and the cows because I think it's just a little bit more, yeah, it's a little bit more. I think that it's okay if there is some uh, mystery, recognizing that the cow and the steak comes from the cow and the bacon comes from the pig. That's important, but I don't necessarily think that unless they want to become subsistent farmers themselves, some of that isn't necessary for my girls to watch at 12 and 14. But it is entirely up to you and what you feel. If you folks live on a farm and stuff, that might be like every day to your kiddos because they see it all the time and it's normal. I just want to make sure that my kids were like not saying chicken comes from the grocery store. That was my goal in this. So that is our farming and food unit from Gather Round Homeschool. I hope you enjoy this video and it was helpful, some of the suggestions that I made. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Talk to you later.